JFK.
An American rescue submarine. That young aviator was to become the 41st president of the United States, George Herbert.
Oh, George Herbert. Oh, H.W. Bush, right?
The B-25 Mitchell passing in front of us now.
Pilot was Bush.
Was so instrumental early in the war for the
JFK
United States.
saved someone.
The 17th Bomb Group.
Yeah, he was actually the rescuer for a different
was the first unit to receive
Bush,
these
right?
B-25 Mitchell bombers, and the pilots loved them. But America had been dragged into World War II by that horrible attack on Pearl Harbor on December 7th, 1941. And the B-25 became part of the mission against which all other air missions had been measured, where 16 of these airplanes, each crewed by 5 airmen,
good luck putting them together.
were launched actually from an aircraft carrier some 800 miles from Japan and bombed Japanese targets, military targets in Tokyo, Osaka, Nagoya, Kobe, and Yokohama. Little damage was done in terms of targets that were destroyed because each bomber only carried 4 bombs. But the B-25s changed the course of the war because that attack that was orchestrated by Jimmy Doolittle, then Lieutenant Colonel Jimmy Doolittle, and the 79 other crew members shattered the Japanese feeling of the invincibility of their homeland. It was the first time Japan, that nation, had been attacked in over 2,000 years. And material and men were kept home for homeland defense that otherwise would have been protected for their power in the Pacific. It was a strategic turning point in the war. All 16 aircraft were lost. Several died, several were captured by the Japanese and executed as war criminals. Lieutenant Colonel Jimmy Doolittle thought he would be court-martialed, but instead, he was promoted to Brigadier General and given the Medal of Honor. And it was just about 2 years ago that the final member of the Doolittle crew, Colonel Richard Cole, passed away at age 103, bringing to an end the heritage, but continuing of that air mission. The American Air Power 11,000 of these aircraft were built, depending on whose history book you read. By the way, if your history book says differently than they might give you today, then
That's the C-47.
If I'm wrong, you're right. What you write is right, then it's right.
There goes the Sky Train. The C-47 Curtiss Sky Train.
the last aircraft out was the North American T-6 Texan, known as the SNJ, the same type flown by the Geico Skytrackers just moments ago. It was known as the Pilot Maker. Some 15,000 of those aircraft were built and flown by nearly 30 allied nations. And as those other aircraft are, as they say, bugging out, we're going to bring back the P-51 Mustang, flown by Tom Richard, a young man who, when he was was inspired by the airplane racing at the National Championship Air Races in Reno, Nevada. And he also wanted to fly warbirds. He was living in Sweden. That's where he was born. And when he was 17, his dad, his grandfather, I should say, gave him $2,500. And Tom Richard headed to America to fulfill his dream. Right ahead, this is the P-51 Mustang. Let's watch and listen to this classic airplane, one of the most special ever built. High to the right. Such an amazing history because it was requested not to be built by the United States Army Air Corps, but the Royal Air Force was using an American-built airplane, the Curtiss P-40 Warhawk, alongside their frontline fighters, the Hurricanes and the Spitfires, in the fight against the German Air Force, the Luftwaffe. And when Curtiss couldn't keep up with the production needs of the Royal Air Force, the British Purchasing Commission approached Dutch Kindleberger, the president of North American Aviation, and said, Dutch, we want you to build P-40s under license, which meant that North American would take the plans and the tooling and set up a production line and build Curtiss P-40 Warhawks. Dutch Kindleberger said, "Man, we don't want to build somebody else's airplane, give you 120 days. That was an incredibly bold statement. But he had the rabbit to pull out of the hat. And that bold statement was made possible because of research that North American Aviation and the National Advisory Council on Aeronautics and some German research determined that the shape of the wing called laminar flow could go much faster. And it was 117 days later, according to the legends, that Inglewood, California's North American Aviation plant rolled out the first Mustang. It had an engine, a V12 liquid-cooled engine, the same as the Curtiss P-40 Warhawk. But it didn't perform well enough at high altitudes to keep up with the British Hurricanes and Spitfires. And so some enterprising British engineers decided to put one of their Rolls-Royce Merlin engines on the front.
Oh, Jesse.
And that Rolls-Royce Merlin engine, paired with the airframe and the laminar flow wing of the Mustang, made it the airplane that has been on everybody's list as one of the most important airplanes in the history of aviation. One of its primary duties was to escort the fighter, I should say, that took off from some 72 different airfields in Great Britain to perform those daring daylight raids in Europe. But the bomber crews had to face the fear, the flak, the fighters, and the fire being thrown at them by the Luftwaffe. So these little friends, these Mustangs like we see here, escorted those bombers to the targets, but they couldn't stay in the air long enough to escort the bombers home. And many times, bombers that were damaged with wounded crew members were straggling behind the rest of the formations and were easy targets for the German fighters. But then a very special development came to be, and that was a 125-gallon papier-mâché disposable or droppable fuel tank, which greatly extended the range and the endurance, the time on that these fighters had. And the little frames then greatly increased the survivability of the big frames, the bombers. The Mustang was also the aircraft flown so successfully and valiantly by America's first African-American squadron, the Tuskegee Airmen. From the left, let's watch and listen to the sound of the Packard-built Merlin engine designed by Rolls-Royce.
I got goosebumps. Oh, yes.
Yo, it is quiet. Sound travels, let's go.
That Rolls-Royce Merlin engine that made the Mustang what it is was built by hand in Great Britain. But when the need was so great, the Packard Motor Car Company of Detroit, Michigan took over manufacture of these airplanes, of these engines, I should say, that equipped not only the Mustang aircraft. Packard built 56,000 Merlin designed engines. And that's what's powering Tom Richards and the American Mustang right now. And so many different companies were involved. I have actually seen valve cover castings and engine blocks that were built for these Packard-built Merlin engines with a very, very unlikely name on the front. And that name, believe it or not, was Maytag. They were nicknamed the Maytag Mustangs. Yeah, the same company that makes kitchen appliances, just like so many other companies during World War II, they stepped up to the plate to build things they'd never built before to support the fighting effort of our boys in the European and the Pacific theaters. Last pass, cameras ready, Tom Richard, the young man from Sweden, who is living his American dream, comes by in the American Air Power Museum's P-51 Mustang. Big hand, if you will, from the American Air Power Museum. And now, we're going to come back once again with an airplane that was born right here. This Republic's A-10 Thunderbolt II. It's my pleasure to